Nick Curry. And the next thing you know, Nick and I and about 48 kids started writing this play called Reach. The first show was vignettes and scenes with no connection, and over time, after talking through with people, we decided to kind of make it more of a connection and a flow, and we created the narrator character, and we tried to bring more of a message about what is it like, really like, for 21st century teenagers. I'm so proud of every one of these students and every person who has submitted anything for Reach and been a part of this process. This is our 22nd production of this show, and this is our first, and hopefully not last, New York City production of this show. I've seen the show 22 times. Asked my wife, she's right here in the audience with us, I sat many hours in the basement, locked away in my little writing desk, writing some of the most heart-wrenching things that I've ever had to put on paper, and they're real stories. These are stories of students who walked into my classroom, into Nick's classroom, and other teachers' classrooms at a decent-sized suburban high school in central Pennsylvania. And the next thing you know, we realized that we had scenes and stories that are not just about us. It's about everyone. It's about, if you're a young person, this is what goes on. This is what is really happening. And we wanted to create an in-your-face, honest portrayal of real students, real young people. There is not one scene that you saw this evening, one scene that is not based on an actual living human being that has graced my classroom. Not one. Many of them have gone on to other things. We have a lot of the original cast members with us. We've recast this show 4 times, and we hope to keep recasting and bringing more people involved into the mix. There's a special person in the audience tonight. There's 2. One of them, I know Alyssa Brown is in the audience. She's also another one of our Reach members, and she's here with us. And also Haley Van Gorder, so come on up here, Haley. Haley, tell everybody where you're going to school.
I go to Delphi University on Long Island. I don't know if any of you guys are from around here know where that is.
Yeah.
And so Haley, you're coming back to see a show. I don't know but a part that almost didn't make it to the stage, if you can remember. That scene, Haley's story, was, for a manner of words, going to be censored. And we were told that it was too much for our audiences to take. And we were called into the office several times, both of us together sometimes, other times individually. And we really stuck by it because I wanted Haley's story of hope and of her situation to be shared. And she's standing with us today, and what she's been through and what other people have been through in this show, for her to be where she is and other people to be where they are, I don't have anything to say that would really express how proud I am and how much I love these people. So thank you so much for everything. Nick, do you want to say anything before we open it up for any comments or questions?
I just have to reiterate how proud I am of these young people for getting up here and telling these stories and sharing this, and so proud that so many people could come and be a part of this and fill this house and really just help get this message of Reach out there. So for everybody involved, for everyone who came to see it and supports these people. I just want to reiterate, thank you so much.
We would really be remiss if we did not say anything about John Plata and everything that he's done for us, as well as... Back in January of 2008, actually, I decided to go out on a whim and say, you know what, my acting program needs a New York City connection. So I decided to look on the internet. There's a lot of bad things on the internet, but there's some good things on the internet, like this guy. And so I actually called him up. I saw this guy. He said, I $20 workshops in New York City, and I'm like, okay, I'll just give this guy a call. Next thing you know, I call him. It's his personal number. Nicest guy you'll ever meet. And the next thing you know, I haven't seen anything bad said. But the next thing you know, in January, we're talking 2-3 times a day and making a connection, not even anything to do with reach in this whole process, just about bringing him out to have him connect with some of my students as kind of a throughway to New York for future connections, or just for, in general, to give my kids an opportunity to see that acting is more than just what's happening in a classroom. It's also bigger than that, and they can do something with their acting, and they can work hard to achieve those things. John came out, John worked with kids, John showed a massive amount of professionalism with these students, answered questions for them, and gave up his busy time to be there for these kids. And the theater that we're sitting in tonight is taken care of because of John. We are so honored to be able to be working with John Plata Studios and Cutting Edge Theater, and Emmett as well, Emmett Thrower from Artist Magnet. I met Emmett over the phone, again through John. John calls me one night on a Friday night and he goes, hey Ben, I need you to do a radio interview for me. I got to be writing something. I'm like, oh, I'm busy. I got a meeting. I'm like, okay, I'll go on the radio. So next thing you know, I'm talking to Emmett Thrower, and we're on New York City Artist Magnet Radio, and about 5 or 6 of the students are calling in. We had a great night, a great session on Emmett's radio show, awesome. And that's how I connected with Emmett, and Emmett and I started emailing and contacting, and Emmett cares about kids and students and teens and bringing message of theater to young people. And the next thing you know, John says, well, let's take this to New York City. How about November 1st? And here we are. So it's been a whirlwind, and once again, we are so honored. These kids, I told them this yesterday, these kids paid for this trip. They didn't pay for it in their money, they paid for it in their time, they paid for it in 4 performances at York Little Theater. They paid a $2,000 bus fare all by themselves, including we only had to charge $25 for those people coming from York, because this show is not about necessarily making money, it's about hopefully getting the message of hope and caring and love and compassion out to a larger group of people, so that people start talking about these issues rather than sliding them under the rug like we're so used to doing. So thank you so much for coming out. What we'd like to do, if you have to leave, we understand. We actually finished a little early, and we have this theater till 10, so we're gonna get our money's worth, if we can, right? If you have any questions or comments, if not, we'd love to be able to hear from you. The cast members are prepped and prepared. You should hear them talk. You should hear them share their stories. They're ready to go. But